Welcome back to Call Sign Horus, where I finally figured out my lighting situation. So just yesterday, I watched Squid Game, and I have some choice words. But first, two things. One, if you haven't watched it yet and don't want it spoiled, leave. I'm going to spoil fucking everything, and this is not a joke. I am literally going to go over every single plot beat I can. Get out if you don't want it spoiled, and then come back and watch this. And the other thing, I'm attacking something from Mecca for K-pop stands, so if I disappear in the next couple weeks, just know I've gone to Russia, and I will be back, but probably not for a while. God, I hope the Russians fucking like me. Alright, so assuming everyone who doesn't want this spoiled is left now, how the hell did this get popular? Like, let's be serious for a minute. This is literally just a poorly thought out version of the Hunger Games. And it kind of... Squid Game kind of is like if Hunger Games Part 1 and 2 were awkwardly mashed into, like, one book, sort of. Well, like the first half of the second book. It's dumb. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. Basically, your main character goes through hell to get money. Repeatedly wants to get out because he's like, the money isn't worth it anymore, which frankly, I agree with that sentiment out of everything. And after he wins by no fault of his own, mind you, he was kind of handed the fucking win by plot convenience. A year later, he goes back. We don't see what happens, but it's very heavily implied he's gonna go participate in the games again, in some capacity. And it just hurts my head. It really hurts my head. I'm just gonna say this now, the whole series operates off of fucking plot convenience, so I'll just go in order of events, because, oh god, this fucking series, dude. Alright, first huge plot hole. This shit's been going on since 1999, and no one has investigated it until 2021. We can assume that since there was a couple files in the 2020 games, that this is either the 2020 or 2021 games. So that leaves anywhere from 21 to 22 years or more, because the furthest we saw it go back was 1999. But this shit could have been going on since the Soviet Union was installed. Theoretically, I guess, but we'll come back to that. So it's been going on for years, and just now the police are investigating it. If over 300, 400 people go missing every year, and you don't fucking look for them, what is your police system doing? I mean, I live in the States, I think you know this. Our police system has not been praised in local time, but holy fucking shit. I mean, the fucking Stasi wasn't this bad. When someone went missing, they either knew or wanted to know. So the second, just monumentally retarded plot point is that there's like an illegal organ trade going on inside of the games, which they're not supposed to be doing. But when you're watching the series and you don't know what's going on, it looks like this is just some huge scam to have an illegal organ trade. But then, why are you killing people in these, like, showy, fantastical ways? Because then you can't harvest the organs, but they're not supposed to be doing that. And there's this whole thing about equality in the show, but there is no equality, period. I mean, it is, like, a regularly brought up plot point that there is no fucking equality in the world. What? Okay, big, dumb reveal number 3. The VIPs are like super rich guys from like Europe, the US, China, wherever, I guess, and South Korea, obviously, because it's a show in South Korea. And these people are just baby murdering evil, you know, skin puppies to make a coat evil, right? You know, just comedically evil. Pour me another scotch. And then I'm going to try and do bad things to the man who I'm bullying. Which, I mean, that's interesting that they actually have, like, a villain who's just openly gay. I mean, I guess that's interesting. Like the only reason I found that interesting is because if you try that in the United States with a script, you are getting your script thrown the fuck out immediately, and immediately after, you are going to Twitter jail. There is there is no quarter. It is, you go right to cancel. You cannot say bad things about certain communities in this country because of the internet. But I guess in South Korea, either they don't care, or it's actually a liberal society where you can have your bad guys be whoever and whatever. Which, I mean, yeah, that's interesting, I guess. But we're getting way off topic. Fourth big stupid reveal, one of the police officers who got sent to Squid Game Island to figure out what's going on, his brother was there, which I guess was his true motivation for going there or something. And his brother turns out to be the front man, who's this fucking asshole in the mask. Not this one, this one. And this cop dies because plot convenience. In the show, the cop running around has a revolver, which doesn't make any fucking sense because all the pink soldiers have MP5s and shit. So it's like, why don't you just have a gun too? Right? Like, why not? But, you know, that's not important, I guess. Anyway, so in the show, it's revealed that the revolvers they use are not 6 shooters, but 5 shooters. One of the chambers must be left empty, and another one must be filled with a blank, as per police regulation. Which is... what? I suddenly understand a hell of a lot more about why the police haven't investigated this for over 20 years, because the police can't even have loaded weapons! If you tried that shit in the States, you'd be kicked off the force for incompetence. What do you mean you don't carry 17 rounds in your Glock and one in the chamber? Are you high? They're crackheads out here. I honestly don't think that's the worst thing, now that I think about it, because the worst thing is they reveal this, and the cop brought no extra ammo! No extra ammo. Tell you what, for those of you who like play airsoft or paintball, go out with like 1 magazine or 1 hopper and no extra ammo and see how long you last. Or if you want to try this in a video game, you can shoot your gun until it runs out of ammo and then you have to use a knife or melee or whatever. See how long you want to stay sane. You won't. The fucking balls on this idiot to go into a danger zone with 3 live rounds. Ah! Anyway, after this, the games conclude in probably a fitting way, I guess you could call it fit. It's so dumb. Song Woo, I think is his name, kills himself so Jihan can win. And then when this guy gets out of the fucking games, he's told to think about it like a dream. But, like, his best friend from childhood is dead, so you're definitely not gonna think of it as a dream that didn't end too fucking poorly, front man, you idiot. And he goes home and his mom is dead, so there was no moral. There's nothing. Your life is a meaningless joke. Fuck you. But it gets worse. Turns out this guy does nothing for a fucking year. 1 year. Does nothing. Lives like he usually does. Without his mommy, I guess. And he's called to the bank, and they're like, why aren't you doing anything with your money? Like, you're not earning interest. You're not, like, investing it. Is everything okay? And he's like, can you spare me $1? And goes off to sit on the beach with a bottle of water. It's fucking booze. I'm looking at it and it looks like booze. He buys a rose. It has a Squid Game card. He goes to a building and he finds out that the old man is alive and well. And he's behind everything. And it reveals that the reason he did the games is because there was no joy left in his life and he had to fucking rekindle his joy or some shit. And he participated in the games because he thought he would have more fun participating than watching. This series hurts my brain. And after that, he dies, and our main character goes off to get a fucking haircut, and gets it styled like a fucking K-pop star. So good on you, I guess. You now look like someone all the women who are under the age of legal that watch this show would definitely try and get in bed with. I'm going to jail for that joke, aren't I? And then he gives a bunch of his money. I don't know if it's all of it or some of it. Like, if I had to guess, they're like leaning towards all of it, but based on how much money he has and how big that suitcase was, in fact, it all looked like that kind of, because like I don't know how the wand works. I'm guessing it wasn't all the money. I hope it wasn't all his money, because if it was, that was like the stupidest fucking thing you could have ever done after winning it all. Like, anyway, he goes to the airport, sees some guy getting his ass kicked, and is like, no, don't go participate in the games. Give me that card. You don't play. You don't play. Bad dog. It's fucking... stop. And then as he's going on to the plane, he calls, and there's this whole thing about, oh, I'm not a horse, I'm a human, and, you know, fucking, the games are immoral. And the guy on the phone's like, just get on the fucking plane, you dipshit. And he doesn't. He turns around to go participate in the games again. So, like I said, Hungry Game Part 1 and Part 2. So that was terrible. But, honestly, that's not all the holes we can poke in the plot. Let's think about this logically for just 1 minute. If the game's been going on for over 20 years and the police have just now started to investigate it, 2 cops went disappearing on this island, the fucking Coast Guard's coming at least, and at worst, they're gonna call up, like, NATO and be like, hey, some fucking weird shit's going on. Get the coalition here. We got a Saddam Hussein, this motherfucker. And you have, like, 100 guys without body armor with MP5s on the island. I'm sorry, but when ROK Special Forces kick in your fucking door, you're not gonna win. Or worse yet, NATO does get involved, and now you gotta deal with, like, the SAS and the SEALs, and, you know, maybe the Russians will get involved. Now you got Spetsnaz kicking in your doors with shield tactics in those narrow-ass hallways. Oh, boy, you are fucked! And you know they have something on file that's gonna incriminate all the, like, VIPs. So, not only are they going to jail forever, but all of their assets are gonna get liquidated into the government, like, guaranteed. Because you can't fucking, like, buy your way out of this one if you've been killing hundreds of people every year. And that's another thing. I could totally understand this if it was, like, the US. Right? Because we have, like, 300 million people in the country. So if you kill, you know, say 500 people every year, it's like, yeah, we lose that many, like, gun crime and shit, or just drug overdoses, or, you know, like, fucking drowning in their pools. So it's not that big of a deal. We lose, like, 1 million people in this country every year to dumb shit alone. That's probably gonna just fly right under the radar. But if I'm not mistaken, South Korea's population is way smaller than the US. I'm gonna check this. Yeah, their population is literally a sixth of our own at 51.78 million people. Which is still a lot of fucking people, don't get me wrong, but that is... You're not gonna lose, like, 500 people a year to, like, at the same time, roughly every year, and they just never show up again. People are gonna start jumping up and down really quickly. Like, again, you could pull this shit off in, like, the States, or China, maybe Russia, fucking Afghanistan for sure, because there's just no law and order over there outside of the Taliban. But in a first world country with almost zero gun crime and a functioning police force, how does this work? And here's another little plot hole. You do understand that private military corporations exist, right? And they are not exactly known for asking questions. This guy won approximately 38 million US dollars. To put that into perspective, a millionaire is someone who has $1 million collectively in assets by definition, and that is how they are scored. You just became 38 of these people collectively like that. And you clearly have a fucking score to settle with these people. So, is it really hard to believe that you won't take, like, 8 million of those dollars and hire out, like, fucking Blackwater to go hunt these people down and shoot them? Like, I'm not gonna say I know Blackwater, but I know what they've done because of, you know, fucking media. They don't ask questions. They kill people and get a paycheck and go the fuck home. Alright? They're working men, but they work with guns. So, why did you not, like, hire out, like, a small security firm to go fucking assassinate all the people on this island? At the very least, it goes horribly wrong and becomes a public news story, and the whole fucking world's made aware of this shit. Because you tell me, if tomorrow on the news it was like, private military firm attacks secret island made by billionaire class. Yeah, you're gonna be interested! But I honestly don't really want to think about this series much anymore, so I'm just going to wrap this up. Squid Game is bad because it makes no sense in a wider context. It plays on tropes that we've seen a million times, it plays with a theme we've seen 100 times, and it doesn't bring anything really new to the table. I think the only reason this show got popular, honestly, is because people are bored and a bunch of, like, influencers thought it was interesting and started screaming about it on social media, and the whole fucking world went to watch it. And I'm sorry I spent like 3 hours watching the show. Actually, no, every episode's like 30 minutes, so over 4 hours. Over 4 hours of my time was spent watching this, and I could have done anything better, like study, or here's a good one. I could have just gone and played fucking Airsoft. Yes, I should have just gone with my Masada and played some fucking Airsoft. I'm gonna hold this because it's gonna make me feel better. So at the end of the day, what do I rate Squid Game? I don't really have a system for this, so I'm gonna rate it... I'm gonna rate it 5 Type 56s out of 10, because the only thing worse than one terrible rifle is a bunch of them. No, that's too psychotic. I'm gonna rate this 5 K-pop albums out of 10, because I fucking hate both.